Hello, welcome to lecture 42, and we are in the final week of this law and economics class. Probably two or three more classes. We are going to end the class semester. Uh, I have finished the insurance and moral hazard thing in total law last lecture, but I want to add a little bit more. Uh, this insurance is what's the difference between the tort law and insurance is that tort law is mainly controlled or made by the government. So when you talk about law, it's the government job, whether it's a policeman, whether it's the judge or whatever, it's the government. On the other hand, insurance, obviously, mostly, it's by the private company. Automobile insurance. When you have a car accident, you have two people. First of all, policeman would come, then the insurance company person would come. And the policeman, even if you do not sue the other person, that the policeman would disappear, and then only the insurance company would be there and figure out who pays how much to whom. The interesting is, in a perfect insurance situation, driver A and driver B, their car bumped each other, and then the driver A's car bumped driver B's car, and driver B's car has a severe damage, then not the driver A or driver A's insurance company, but the driver B's insurance company pay for the repairment. Then driver B's company asked driver A's insurance company. So the insurance company talk to each other, and driver B's insurance company, I pay my customer this much, and I think driver A is maybe 70% responsible, so why don't you give me 70%? So I paid him $100, $30 of it because driver B is also made a mistake. I'm gonna pay, but 70% was done by driver A, and driver A has insurance for your company, so driver A's insurance company will pay me $70. So basically, not the police, not the insurer, not the victim, when accident happens, it's the insurer's insurance company against the victim's insurance company. This have certain advantage. First of all, which negotiation would be smoother if driver A and driver B, they fight each other, negotiate how many pay to whom? The problem is driver A and B does not have a lot of experience in car accident. Normal person like you and me, how many times do we have car accident in our life? Maximum 10? No, for me, my wife has two car, bumped each other car accident, something like that. So we are not experienced negotiator in this area. On the other hand, the insurance company people deals with this kind of thing every day, maybe 5 times a day. They already know what would be the result if they go there. So it's like negotiation with two people with perfect information. In the negotiation game, we already knew that when well-informed negotiators negotiate, the negotiation ends quickly, immediately. So that's why the insurance company's negotiation is much more efficient and probably more accurate. So that has advantage. Another thing is, compared to tort law, when we talk about tort law, the headache was the activity levels. Activity level cannot be forced by the government. For example, how many hours do you drive? That increase, if you drive longer time, that increase the probability of accident. But the government can never ever say the driver, you should not drive that much. Otherwise, you go to jail. you're going to be a penalty on you. Because the person will say, come on, I'm a poor merchant. If the government prevent me from driving, how can I make money? So I'm not going to vote for you. It's illegal and things like that. So government cannot tell the normal people to drive less hours. Okay? On the other hand, the insurance company can. And actually, my insurance company has told me several years how I'm getting $50 in Korean won, 5만 won discount for the last 2-3 years. Why? The insurance company says, what is your mileage this year? What is your mileage last year? And sometimes I drive less than 10,000 kilometers per year. 1년에 10,000km 이하. So if I drive less than 10,000 kilometers per year, they give me $50 discount. And because I'm just driving between my house and the university, which is like 15-20 minutes, so I can get it somehow. But that kind of gives me the incentive not to drive like aimlessly around. When I go somewhere very far, like I'm going to Busan, I'm thinking, should I take the train or should I drive there? Of course, take the train, which is more convenient, and I want to save the $50 kind of thing. So the insurance company suggests the money that benefits you because you have a monetary incentive and less a chance of accident. But that benefits insurance company too because I drive a lot and make an accident, automobile accident. The insurance company should pay a lot. That's why they gave me this monetary incentive not to drive so much, which the government cannot do, but insurance company can do because they just suggested and I just accepted. Okay? So, in the future, as I said, some people argue, why should the government do everything? I mean, look at the insurance company. When there's an automobile accident, the policeman came in, but when the insurance company person come, the policeman said, are you going to sue each other? No. Then he left. Everything would be cleared and negotiated by the insurance company. So maybe if everybody insures and insurance company is effective, then we may not use the need the court anymore as long as tort law is concerned. So accident is accident, no criminal intention, it's just bad luck. Then all you want is being careful, and insurance company may make you careful because when you have a car accident next year, you have to pay more money to the insurance company. So if we have good insurance company, maybe in the future, people might say, we don't need tort law, we don't need the court and policemen anymore in this area. Agree or not? This coronavirus situation, pandemic situation, gives a big question. I mean, many economists tend to be the free market. So, for example, insurance company can do it. Why do we need government kind of attitude? But then even the hardcore free market economists would agree that sometimes the government control is better than free market. Like what? Wartime situation. I mean, you have to fight each other. You cannot ask people like, do you want to join the war or not? Just you have to act very quickly and everybody together. Like everybody fight and do this, do that. Whenever you're ordered, you should do that. If you begin to ask free market, what do you want? Then the enemy will kill you while you are hesitating and deciding. Okay? So same as the virus pandemic situation, the Korean people, everybody in Korea should act very quickly. So it's like a military mobilization. So in the pandemic situation or wartime, the government control is definitely better. Okay. However, when it's not, when the government controls everything, where the new idea comes up, I mean, everybody act the same way, then there's no creativity, there's no room for the improvement. Therefore, still we have this balance of central control to fight the war, fight the virus, but at the same time, we have to give freedom to the people so that we have more creative ideas. So this new era where pandemic, a worldwide pandemic would be more frequent, would give us more thinking what kind of government, what kind of law is desirable. Because the concept of desirability is never be same after this coronavirus pandemic situation. Okay, the future topics. Okay, next, judgment proof. Another very interesting stuff. What is judgment proof? Well, my English is not native, not good. So I thought about what is proof. Proof is you're proving something in the theory, mathematics. But another word proof is bullet proof. Like when there is somebody shoot at you, it hits your chest. You're supposed to die, but you are not because you have bulletproof vest. Because there is a steel shield in your jacket. So when the bullet comes up, it does not penetrate. The like a steel iron block the bullet. And what about waterproof? When you have a watch, if it's not waterproof, you put it inside the swimming pool, then the watch would go dead. However, some watches are waterproof watches. So even though you put them inside the water, it would not affect it. It still goes on. So bulletproof, something that bullet cannot come into your body. Waterproof, something that prevent water go in there. So what is judgment proof? The judge make a verdict, but then somehow that verdict judgment would not affect the person, injurer, the victim. So judge said, oh, injurer, it's your fault. Pay $1 million. But the injurer said, oh, you're a judge. Whatever you say, the judgment you make, I would not be affected. How come? The judge is almighty. The judge said, you have to pay 1 million. You have to pay 1 million. But how is it possible for you not to pay 1 million? Can I tell you the secret? Yes. Do you want to hear the secret? Yeah. You have no money. The judge said, pay the money. And you said, I want to pay, but I'm broke. I have no money. Because I have no money, I cannot pay. I do not have the money to pay for A you are asking me. Then it's judgment proof. You are not afraid of the judge, how much money he or she would sentence to you, decide you to pay. Because whatever the money amount is, I cannot pay because I'm broke, I have no money. So what? Some smart businessmen are using this, like risky business. Like you are really, really rich, and you have a ship which can make a big hazard. Like you are carrying petroleum. There has been many accidents in human history that the petroleum tanker ship ruptured, and then the petroleum go into the wild sea, and then many people would be infected by that. Many fishes and seagulls, they die and things like that. If that ever happened, that cost your company a lot, like $1 billion. Unfortunately, your company is so rich, your company has $10 billion. So if one of your petroleum tanker ship ruptured in the open sea, then the judge sentence you to pay $1 billion, then you have to pay $1 billion. But you don't want to pay it. How can you do that? You are a very rich company like company A, then you make a very small company, A prime. And A prime doesn't have very much money. It has maybe $1 million, never 1 billion. So you open a small company which is different from the A. The new company is A prime. A has $10 billion, very rich, but the child company, baby company A prime has only 1 million. And this $1 million company has this petroleum oil tanker ship. So if the oil tanker ship ever has any accident, it's not the rich company A, but small company A prime would be responsible. The judge said, company A prime, because your oil tanker ship ruptured and this much harm was caused by it, you have to pay $1 billion. And A prime says, oh, I'm happy to pay all the money I have, which is just 1 million, but then the resting $999 million, virtually $1 billion, we cannot pay because we are bankrupted. So A prime declared bankrupt and pay only 1 million, but then somehow the government and victim would be responsible for the rest of $1 billion. That's sad because actually A prime was owned by the big company A who has money more than enough to pay the damage, harm, $1 billion. But clever company do it all the time. Okay, so they make small company when they have to do the risky business, risky and profitable business. If no accident happen, they make a profit. If there's an accident happen, they immediately bankrupted that small ghostly company, so they don't have to pay anything. So that's judgment proof. So if the judgment proof is widespread, then tort law would be useless because nobody is afraid of the judge's sentence because they simply say, I'm bankrupted, I cannot pay A. Okay, so once again, this is very bad behavior. Hope that you wouldn't do that. But when you enter a big company, something like that, I'm quite sure at some point you would think about this because you may try very hard not to harm anyone, but still when you have a company, some part of it is dangerous, and that danger may kill your company, then you might think about judgment-proof stuff so that your company loss would be reduced. Anyway, this judgment-proof thing, you may not have heard for the first time in your life, but my feeling is it's much widely spread around the world, in the business world, than you ever think. Okay, I'm not going to specifically mention anything, but if you read the past newspapers, even some big Korean company do this. Litigation cost. This is something we hardly mentioned and considered, but we usually say, oh, sue him. Okay, the judge will sentence this and that. But whenever you sue someone, you have to pay. You have to hire lawyers. You have to make a document, etc., etc. You have to pay the court, something like that. So the litigation, the suing process has a cost. If the victim's litigation cost is high, what would happen? The victim was victimized by the injurer. The injurer caused harm to the victim. But victim says, oh, if I sue the injurer, he would pay me $100. But while doing that, the litigation process cost me $200. So I spent $200, win, getting $100. Still, I'm losing $100. So I'm already has a damage of $100, and I sue. My total damage would be $200 because even though I got paid $100, I paid the lawyer $200. So the victim would give up. Okay, actually, this then the injurer know that, and okay, if I cause any harm, hit someone, the litigation cost is so high, they would never sue me. So I have to be careful. If unless I make a big accident, small accident, nobody would sue me. Okay, so injurer would be under precautious, less than optimal, careful. Actually, this is the one reason why we have law school. I mean, before the law school, every year, in old age, only 200, 300 people become a lawyer. And the number of lawyers are so small. So when you are thinking about suing someone, you go to the lawyer because there are so small number of lawyers. They ask you big money and you said, oh, it's nonsense to pay so much to get such a little money out of the suit. So they would never do that. Okay? What if the injurer's litigation cost is high and victim is not? The injurer have an accident, cause an accident, and sued. It not only pay A, but also pay L, which is a litigation cost. So, paying $200 damage to the victim is one thing, but paying another like $300 to the lawyers. So I cause harm only $200, but in order to pay $200, I have to hire lawyers, and they charge me $300. So in total, I pay not only $200, but $500. So would you be careful or not? Yeah, we think injurer would be more careful. Actually, over precautious, because we want the injurer to be like this optimally careful, but it would make a distortion, and the injurer would be too much careful. In a sense, you understand what I mean. So the litigation cost to mingle up everything. The victim's litigation cost high, the injurer would be less careful. If the injurer's litigation cost is high, the injurer would be overly careful. So the litigation cost, if it's reduced, it would help the efficiency of the society as long as the total law is concerned. Okay, last topic in this lecture, vicarious liability. I think it can be vicarious. I'm not very familiar, but it means let the master answer, or respondent to superior, which means you went to the restaurant and the waitress or waiter make a mistake, pour like hot water on you by mistake, coffee on the cup, but shake hands, they pour the hot coffee on your leg, so you got burned, you hospitalized. Are you gonna sue the waiter or are you gonna sue the restaurant? Vicarious liability is, if it's allowed, you can sue the restaurant instead of the waitress or waiter, because the waiter and waitress was employee of the restaurant, and when the employee make a mistake, if under the vicarious liability law, you can sue not only the employee, but actually the employer, the restaurant itself. The good side of it, the employer provide a better training and safety system. I mean, when the waiter pours something on you and you got injured, you might say, oh, the waiter was not careful. That's one thing. But then, the restaurant should train the waiter better, because he's carrying all these heavy things and hot stuff. So they have to tell them, you should hold it this way and that way, never bring too much things together and things like that. So if you are a very systematic good restaurant, the waiter and waitress would know how to be safe. So when there's an accident in the restaurant by the waiter and waitress, we can immediately acknowledge and understand at least part of it is the lack of training and safety systems of the restaurant. Okay, maybe they have to provide a better coffee pot or something so that even though they drop it, the hot stuff would never come out and things like that. There are kettles like that. Okay, so what about bad stuff? Employee might act irresponsibly. The restaurant educate the employee very well. The employee said, "Oh, if I have ever accident, then it's not me who pay; it's the restaurant. So I have nothing to lose. If I want to be careful, that's too much. So I would be a little bit careless. Maybe, maybe not. But really bad stuff is when the employee make a mistake. Like spilling something in the restaurant, that's obvious. But let's say you are doing a construction and then near an apartment, and then you dig a hole, and then by mistake you hit the apartment basement, and the apartment became very dangerous place. There's a lot of cracks. Apartment may fail. What would you do? If it's not vicarious, the employer say "Oh, this stupid employee. I mean, you go there and tell the apartment that I made a mistake. You should pay something because the construction company, the employer, is not responsible, but the worker who used the bulldozer or something made a mistake. But let's say even though the driver of bulldozer, the employee, made a mistake, the construction company has to pay the damage to the apartment at the basement if they made a mistake. The construction company owner said, "Oh, let's keep it a secret. I mean, the apartment became shaky, it has cracks, but there's a good chance that nobody would notice. Of course, it may fall, collapse, and many people may die, but after several years later, nobody would know why it collapsed. If we confess here, we would be charged so much, our company would be bankrupted. So are you going to be bankrupted, or are you going to risk the life of the people in the apartment by concealing as if nothing happened?" So the vicarious liability make the employer and employee at the same side because they want to, they have this incentive to conceal and hide their mistakes. So it's kind of vicarious liability is good because sometimes you are harmed and the employee is so poor, it's like a judgment-proof thing. But then the court say, okay, the employee is poor, so they cannot pay you the A, but the employer, the restaurant, the construction company is rich, they should pay because they are also responsible for their employees' action, mistake. The bad side is then the employer and employee stick together and try to hide the accident whenever it happened. So the world is complicated. Never one thing is totally better than the other most of times. But as long as you learn it, and even though you do not have the answer, you know what is the good side, bad side of every system, then when it really happens to you, you would be able to deal with the situation better. That's what I hope, and that's why we learn law and economics. Okay, thank you. This is the end of lecture 42, and probably one or two more lectures, we are going to reach the end of the semester. See you soon.